Yes, you guys, and how you all doing today? I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lines TV, and welcome to the match review of our disappointing 1-0 loss against Kawasaki Frontale. Now, in today's match review, I'm going to be talking about a lot of very interesting tactical observations. Of course, we need to talk about Christian Pulisic playing for us for the first time, as well as guys like Ross Barkley, Kennedy, and many more. However, you guys, before I get into anything, today's video is brought to you by the OneFootball app. Download the OneFootball app this pre-season to stay up to date with all the news, team news lineups, etc, etc. If you guys want this, you'll find the OneFootball link in the description below. Now, before I get into anything, today we need to put some respect on Kawasaki Frontale. Now, for you guys that aren't aware, they are the league champions in Japan. Currently they're third right now, but they are on a 16-game unbeaten run. In their last game just a few days ago, they beat league rivals, bitter league rivals, and league leaders Tokyo FC 3-0. And they're a team that know how to play football. Defensively very solid, they move as a unit, and that's one thing that they're very known for back in Japan, so respect needs to be put on them. They played this game as if it wasn't a pre-season, they played with pride, and they made it very difficult, and honestly, I was excited to play against them because this is the type of opposition we need to play against in pre-season, because if we want these guys to get fully fit and on things, they need to play against lots of opponents like this, and they gave us a game, they gave Lampard some questions and things to talk about with his coaching staff afterwards, and honestly I think it was a very good positive experience. Now, I do want to talk about tactics in the first half. As you guys can see, this was the lineup we used in the first half of today's game, and the most interesting important thing is the fact that today we stuck with using a 4-2-3-1. Now, in other games, there have been differences where we are using different formations, but right now, Lampard has stuck with a 4-2-3-1, and this is very interesting. Is this the formation that Lampard wants to build with from the beginning before he develops into a 4-3-3? Who knows? Now, for this segment, I am going to discuss tactics for a bit because there were some very interesting tactical developments in this game today. And I think the first thing to start off with was how we tried to break down Kawasaki offensively. And the immediate thing we noticed was how Kennedy and Pedro really moved infield, in the half spaces between the lines, very central and close to Mason. And obviously by doing this, Alonso and Aspi have to get forward, support the play. We see teams like Liverpool, for example, play quite a similar way, where it's about, creating those overloads in areas where your opponents are weak. But of course, there is some things we need to remember. It's very humid right now in the Kawasaki Stadium. Our fullbacks aren't really suited to this style of football either. And of course, when you've got Kennedy, who likes to cut inside from the right hand side with his left foot, told to play in tight areas and receive the ball with his left foot. I mean, it's no surprise why he constantly lost the ball in these areas. And Pedro, I'm sorry you guys, but he's starting to look a bit old for me right now. And again, not really having any impact in these areas. And when you consider the fact too that, Mason being a number 10, Kawasaki, they're very deep in their defensive positions. It made it very congested in midfield. So this is why we didn't really see Mason Mount do much, and it was very hard for him because most times players around him kept messing up passes, and a lot of times, it was just too congested in these areas. Now, one man that I do want to talk about is Jorginho, and there were a lot of questions surrounding the player now that Lampard has been appointed. Now, I do want to talk about Jorginho for a bit, because of course we remember the comments made by Sarri when he said that Jorginho doesn't suit playing in a 2. And of course Sarri was correct. You have to understand with Maurizio Sarri, the guy was a manager that likes his teams to be very specialised in their way of playing, and he wants players to be playing in positions that are going to get the 10 out of 10 best of their abilities. But Frank Lampard did do something interesting, and of course Jorginho isn't a midfield player that can cover great distances by himself. So for example, if he was in the base by himself, it's going to be very hard for him to start covering ground by himself with two other centre-backs behind him. This is why last season a lot of fans were having a go at him, because when he was forced in these areas, he's naturally going to struggle. But what Lampard did was, he had cover alongside Jorginho together the entire time. I was thinking that you might be seeing cover breaking the lines moving forward. No. Entire time these two are in position together, and of course this makes a lot of sense, because this means that Jorginho now doesn't have to cover great distances by himself. By Jorginho and cover staying in the pivot together, this allowed Alonso and Aspie to really push forward. And of course the whole point is Pedro, Kennedy in the half spaces, these two breaking the lines moving forward, and you can see what Lampard's trying to do. And this is why there's a lot of focus on quick use of the ball in midfield, and this is where I really feel that Jorginho could have a new lease of life, especially when you consider that Kante will most likely be replacing cover alongside him. And this way Jorginho can still play his game, but he does have greater defensive support around him. And it'll be interesting to see how we look playing this style of football once the big guys are back, like the fullbacks, Hudson-Odoi, Ruben, etc, because we're not going to see the full potential until that happens. Now, due to this new way of how we play, it seems to bring the best out of David Luiz, because of course it's all about creating those overloads in the wide areas. This means that the fullbacks will be isolated out wide at times, and this is where David Luiz can shine. And as we saw time and time again in this game today, some of his exquisite, amazing long passes from deep. He starts so many attacks. It's either passes between the lines, where he's finding Mason or players in the half space, or it's a nice long diagonal through ball to the fullbacks. And at times when he's playing these passes, you really want better quality to come from it. However, due to some of these guys not being 100% suited to this style of football, they don't necessarily get the best out of David Luiz's distribution. Now, a lot of times, due to Kawasaki's deep defensive shape, it meant that it was quite hard to find players between the lines and in the half spaces. So a lot of times to get through this, what ended up happening was Pedro or Kennedy were making diagonal runs between the Kawasaki defense, and by doing this, obviously it stretched Kawasaki's defense. It allowed us to find more space, and of course some of the great runs that I have to admit Kennedy was making in this game today was able to help us start attacks again and help guys like the fullbacks get back into the game. But I do want to talk about Kennedy for a bit. I kept screaming in the first half, yo, this guy really doesn't suit playing on the left hand side in the half space, because he can't really get the ball goal side on his best foot. However, in the second half, when he was playing on the right hand side, at times, he looked a bit better, sharper, pressing was on point, but some of the quality wasn't there. And Kennedy does need more fitness. I'm going to be a bit more patient with him, but it'll be interesting to see if he is going to be playing down the right hand side even more. We do lack options down the flanks right now, so it's definitely going to be worth keeping an eye out for Kennedy. One thing that I did notice about the second half was how we moved the ball. It became a lot more different. In the first half, it was more about controlling the central areas to create those overloads out wide. In the second half, we focused a lot more of our passes down the flanks, stretching the play down the wide areas. And with Bakayoko and Danny Drinkwater, I guess that makes sense, because it's not as if both players are comfortable beating the press and, playing a lot of tidy passes. They're more about, winning the ball, keeping their defensive position, and releasing passes out wide to the fullbacks or to the wide attacking players. And, I did notice with Pulisic as well, a lot of times when he was receiving the ball, of course, he was out in the wide areas, where the hopes was that once he receives it, he's going to go 1v1 and get past his man. Now, playing with width really got the best out of Ross Barkley. Now, to end the match review, I do want to talk about some of the individual performances we saw today. I'm going to be talking about guys like Christian, Mason, Ross Barkley as well, plus some others, so stay tuned. Now, how did Christian do? Well, of course, it's his first game. I did tell you guys before that he was stationed out wide to receive the ball. There weren't many opportunities to go 1v1. Of course, it's the first time playing with new teammates, so we weren't really able to see too much. However, we did see the basics, which were good. Worked hard, pressed well. We saw his pace at times, and we saw the areas in which he'd like to damage teams when obviously he's attacking. So, you know, of course, we're going to see more of Christian as preseason goes on. But yeah, it's good to see him. He does look good in that white shirt. And, you know, is it a coincidence that it kind of looks like the American colors? I don't think so. You know how clubs like to market and gas it. But with Christian, you know, let's really keep an eye on this guy. I'm hoping that as the preseason continues, he's really going to grow. Now I can talk about Ross Barkley. And if you guys apply the points I made in the second half tactical observations where we were focusing the passes out wide, this only made more space in the central areas, and space is something that Ross Barkley loves. Now this made me realise Ross Barkley's always been used as a 10. I've said this time and time again. It's how he was used playing at Everton, and you know, he's a player where he doesn't do too well where opponents are rushing him, closing him down. When Barkley has to help progress the ball and start with build up, that's not really his game. Barkley is more of a number 10 player, so it was no surprise why he looks more threatening playing in this team. And of course, with, you know, two wide players stretching the play, fullback stretching the play as well, Ross Barkley has all the time and space to make the passes he wants. Now, he made two very good ones in this game today. Some of his passing decisions weren't on point, but I'm not going to stick it on him. It's pre-season, it's very humid. And I think the last player that I do want to talk about is Emerson. I thought Emerson was quite poor today, you guys. Very poor from a defensive point of view. The amount of times that simple balls in behind was taking him out of position. He wasn't reading the game defensively well enough. And whenever you notice David Luiz leaving his position to have to help, that's because Emerson isn't doing what he needs to do. And Kawasaki were able to, you know, attack down his flank quite well, and they were able to start attacks because of that. So Emerson really needs to step up. I'll tell you guys this straight. I am hearing things that as Reece James does return, there could be a massive real possibility that Aspie will be the new left back with Reece James playing down the right hand side. Listen, I get that Aspie isn't great offensively, but defending is still important because in modern day football, the minute that one side is weak, it's going to get counted down and you're going to get exposed. So if that's what happens, it happens. But hopefully this is pre-season. It's the conditions. Emerson steps up. He gets fitter. He gets better, because I still think that he has a lot of the qualities that this team needs to progress going in the future. Obviously, the loss is disappointing. I thought that that 5-minute spell that Kawasaki had was enough for them to really win this game. I thought they deserved it in the end. They were the more cohesive team, which obviously makes a lot of sense. A lot of these guys have played together and they're midway through their season. So if you're a fan, I wouldn't get upset about what you're seeing from Frank Lampard. I wouldn't be upset at the players. Understand the context. It's pre-season. Don't do it to yourself. But of course, it was disappointing, especially because it was such an avoidable mistake, maybe. Now, I know a lot of guys will blame it on David Luiz. It is what it is. He does get scapegoated, but it was a defensive collective mistake. You know, Giroud and Luiz getting in each other's way. That's going to come from not really fine-tuning defensive set pieces in training. So I'm not mad with that. I'm not upset. If I saw deep structural issues, then yeah, I might be. But this happens. It is unlucky. We do keep moving. We're only going to get better. We're only going to get fitter, which is the most important thing for this pre-season. And hey, I still feel very confident. And on that note, you guys, I'm going to keep it moving. Thank you for watching. I'm EMERSON. This is Blue Lions TV, signing out.